Hello everybody, welcome to my channel.
Elizabeth Taylor, 1932 to 2011, was an iconic British-American actress, humanitarian, and businesswoman, known as much for her beauty and charisma as for her talent and turbulent personal life. With her striking violet eyes, glamorous style, and magnetic screen presence, Taylor became one of the most enduring legends of Hollywood's golden age. Early life and career. Born in London to American parents, Taylor moved to the U.S. as World War II loomed. She began acting in films as a child and gained early fame with National Velvet, 1944, at just 12 years old. Her transition to adult roles was seamless, and she soon became a major box office draw in the 1950s and 1960s. Acclaimed Performances. Taylor starred in numerous critically acclaimed and commercially successful films. Highlights of her career include A Place in the Sunday, 1951, Giant, 1956, with James Dean and Rock Hudson. Cat on a Hot Tin Roof, 1958, opposite Paul Newman. Butterfield 8, 1960, which won her first Academy Award. Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf, 1966, which earned her a second Oscar for Best Actress. Her portrayal of Cleopatra in Cleopatra, 1963, was iconic. Though the film was notorious for its massive budget and behind-the-scenes drama, including the beginning of her romance with co-star Richard Burton. Personal life. Elizabeth Taylor's personal life attracted as much attention as her films. She was married 8 times to 7 men, including 2 marriages to actor Richard Burton. Their passionate, volatile relationship captivated the world and became one of the most famous love stories in Hollywood history. Humanitarian work. Beyond her film career, Taylor was a pioneering activist. She became a prominent advocate for HIV/AIDS awareness and research at a time when few celebrities would speak out. She co-founded the American Foundation for AIDS Research, AMFAR, and the Elizabeth Taylor AIDS Foundation, raising millions for the cause and breaking ground for future activism. Legacy. Elizabeth Taylor remains a symbol of classic Hollywood glamour, strength, and compassion. She was one of the first actresses to leverage her fame into business success, launching a wildly popular fragrance line. Her legacy lives on not only in her films, but also in her trailblazing work as a philanthropist and cultural icon. She received numerous honors, including a Dame Commander of the Order of the British Empire, DBE, from Queen Elizabeth II in 2000. Elizabeth Taylor's life was one of beauty, talent, resilience, and heart. Child star to screen siren. Elizabeth Taylor's film debut came at age 10 with There's One Born Every Minute, 1942, but it was National Velvet, 1944, that made her a star. Her natural acting ability, coupled with her astonishing beauty, she had a rare genetic mutation that gave her double rows of eyelashes, set her apart early. In her teenage years and early adulthood, she signed with MGM, the studio behind many of her most successful early films. She quickly evolved from a child actor into a dramatic leading lady, working alongside top-tier actors and directors. Defining Hollywood glamour. By the 1950s and 60s, Taylor was a defining face of Hollywood elegance. Known for her luxurious lifestyle, jaw-dropping jewelry collection, and dramatic fashion, she became a fashion icon. She was also among the first actresses to negotiate million-dollar salaries. Cleopatra made her the highest-paid film actress of her time, setting a precedent for women's earning power in Hollywood. Her performance in Cleopatra, 1963, despite the film's troubled production and excessive cost, cemented her mythic status. The affair with Richard Burton during the filming scandalized the press and the Vatican, which condemned it as erotic vagrancy. Their fiery, opulent relationship captivated the world, they were dubbed Liz and Dick, the original celebrity couple brand. Love and loss. Elizabeth Taylor's romantic life was both storied and tragic. Her 7 husbands were Conrad, Nicky, Hilton, 1950-1951, Hotel Air. The marriage ended quickly and badly. Michael Wilding, 1952-1957, British actor and father of her 2 eldest sons. Mike Todd, 1957-1958, film producer. Their relationship was passionate, but he died in a plane crash a year later. Eddie Fisher, 1959-1964, singer. Their relationship began while he was still married to Debbie Reynolds, causing a public scandal. And 6. Richard Burton, 1964-1974 and 1975-1976, the love of her life. Their relationship was tempestuous, deeply loving, and often destructive. John Warner, 1976-1982, U.S. Senator. Taylor became involved in politics but felt isolated in Washington. Larry Fertenska, 1991-1996, construction worker. They met in rehab and married at Michael Jackson's Neverland Ranch. Despite heartbreak and personal turmoil, Taylor was never cynical about love. Her vulnerability, combined with her resilience, made her both relatable and enigmatic. Health struggles and reinvention. Taylor endured numerous health issues throughout her life: back injuries, pneumonia, broken bones, and more. She underwent more than 30 surgeries. Still, she remained remarkably active and committed, in acting, in advocacy, and in her personal causes. In the 1980s, as the AIDS crisis unfolded, Taylor emerged as a powerful and fearless voice. While many public figures remained silent, she used her platform to call for compassion, funding, and awareness. Her close friend Rock Hudson's death in 1985 galvanized her further. She raised over $270 million for AIDS research and care, becoming one of the first celebrities to successfully harness their fame for humanitarian work. Businesswoman and brand pioneer. In 1987, Taylor entered the fragrance industry with passion, followed by White Diamonds in 1991, one of the best-selling celebrity perfumes of all time. She was a trailblazer in the celebrity branding movement and amassed significant wealth from her perfume lines, making her one of the richest women in Hollywood. Death and posthumous recognition. Elizabeth Taylor died on March 23, 2011, from congestive heart failure, at age 79. She was buried at Forest Lawn Memorial Park in Glendale, California, near her friend Michael Jackson. True to form, she arrived late to her own funeral, by her own request, 15 minutes after the service began. She left behind 4 children, 10 grandchildren, and a legacy that stretches across entertainment, activism, and entrepreneurship. Cultural impact. Acting, 50-plus films, 2 Academy Awards, and 5 nominations. Fashion, inspired designers and red carpet fashion for decades. Philanthropy, changed the perception and support structure around HIV/AIDS. Feminism, a symbol of female power in an era that often silenced or sidelined women in Hollywood. Elizabeth Taylor's life was not one of quiet dignity. It was a symphony of beauty, scandal, fame, generosity, tragedy, and passion. In every way, she lived big. As she once said, "I've been through it all, baby. I'm Mother Courage." A woman ahead of her time. Though remembered as the epitome of old Hollywood glamour, Elizabeth Taylor was remarkably modern in many ways. 1. A champion of women's independence. At a time when actresses were often tightly controlled by studios and expected to behave modestly, Taylor fought for autonomy. She broke contracts, refused certain roles, and even took time off for her own needs, almost unheard of at the time. She was one of the first actresses to demand and receive profit participation in her films. 2. Outspoken and unapologetic, Taylor didn't hide her flaws. She spoke openly about addiction, love, loss, and aging. Her honesty made her relatable to generations of women. She once said, "I don't pretend to be an ordinary housewife." She also quipped, "I've only slept with men I've been married to." How many women can make that claim? 3. A pioneer in celebrity activism. Long before celebrity activism was common, Taylor was lobbying Congress and publicly challenging stigma. Her testimony before lawmakers, her founding of AMFAR, and her personal visits to AIDS patients in hospitals showed not only boldness but deep compassion. Her advocacy is widely credited with helping turn AIDS from a taboo topic into a global cause. Personal friendships. Elizabeth Taylor was fiercely loyal to her friends. Some of her most notable friendships include Michael Jackson. She was one of Jackson's closest friends and supported him through controversies and loneliness. He even gave her away at her final wedding. Rock Hudson, one of her dearest co-stars. His death from AIDS deeply affected her and galvanized her activism. Montgomery Clift, a beloved friend and co-star. She helped him recover after a disfiguring car accident and remained by his side during his personal battles. She often gravitated toward people who, like her, lived on the margins of conventional society, gay men, outcasts, misunderstood creatives, and offered them fierce loyalty. Iconic fashion and jewelry. Taylor's jewelry collection was legendary, not just for its value, but for its emotional weight. Some highlights: the Krupp diamond, 33.19 carats. Later renamed the Elizabeth Taylor diamond, gifted by Richard Burton. The Taylor Burton diamond, a 69-carat pear-shaped gem, once worn to the Oscars. Historic pieces once owned by royalty, many of which were auctioned by Christie's after her death in a record-breaking $156 million sale. Proceeds went to her AIDS Foundation. Her fashion style evolved with each decade but always exuded drama and luxury. She loved kaftans, plunging necklines, bold colors, and, of course, statement jewelry. Elizabeth Taylor in popular culture. Even after her death, Elizabeth Taylor continues to inspire. Biopics and documentaries. Her life has been portrayed and analyzed in numerous TV movies and documentaries, including Elizabeth Taylor, A Life in 10 Pictures, and Liz and Dick, starring Lindsay Lohan. Fashion and beauty. Designers and makeup artists still cite her as a muse. Violet eyeshadow, winged liner, and Hollywood hair owe much to Taylor's signature look. Quotes. Taylor is among the most quoted actresses of all time. Her wit, honesty, and sass remain evergreen on social media and in women's empowerment campaigns. Final years and philanthropic legacy. In her final years, Taylor used her fame not for the spotlight, but to leave the world better than she found it. She quietly donated to causes beyond AIDS, including homelessness, cancer research, and Jewish charities. Used Twitter, briefly, to connect with fans and speak her mind. Spent time surrounded by grandchildren and close friends in her Bel Air home. Continued to raise millions through her perfume sales, directing funds toward AIDS care. Her Elizabeth Taylor AIDS Foundation still operates today, expanding global access to healthcare, medication, and education, especially in marginalized communities. How she's remembered today. Elizabeth Taylor is remembered as one of the greatest film actresses of all time. A fearless humanitarian who changed the course of public health history. A woman who embraced every part of herself, flaws, passions, and all, and encouraged others to do the same. A symbol of beauty, endurance, and unapologetic living. She didn't just play queens on screen, she lived like one. In many ways, Taylor redefined what it meant to be a woman in the public eye: powerful, emotional, and unbreakably human. The later years. Grace, humor, and steel. Even as health issues mounted in her final decades, Elizabeth Taylor never faded from public consciousness, and she never stopped living boldly. Multiple health battles. One fighting spirit. She endured a long list of ailments: broken bones, skin cancer, a brain tumor, hip replacements, and congestive heart failure. By the late 1990s, she often used a wheelchair and relied on oxygen tanks. Yet, she always appeared in public with full makeup, diamond earrings, and charisma to spare. She joked about her health, saying, "I've had so many operations that I'm practically held together with glue." Choosing compassion over vanity. While many stars disappear from the spotlight as they age, Taylor chose visibility. Particularly for causes that mattered to her. She used her celebrity to challenge public attitudes toward death, illness, and aging, topics rarely discussed in glamorous circles. She said, "It is bad enough that people are dying of AIDS. But no one should die of ignorance." Light bulb impact on generations to come. A blueprint for the modern celebrity long before the era of Instagram influencers or cause-driven stars like Angelina Jolie or Lady Gaga. Elizabeth Taylor wrote the rulebook on how to turn celebrity into power and purpose. Beauty icon plus businesswoman. Her perfume empire made her over $1 billion, and she donated much of it to charity. Her name is synonymous with indulgence. She used her image not just as yachts, but not in a superficial way. Taylor used luxury as a tool of self-expression. She didn't just own diamonds. She wore them like armor. Heartbreak. Vulnerability. From losing her husband Mike Todd, to standing by Montgomery Clift through his addictions, to confronting death and disease up close, Taylor never hid from emotional pain. She didn't wear a mask. That honesty remains radical even now. Biceps strength. Taylor didn't break under pressure. Instead, she built an empire, changed lives, and outlived nearly every critic. Her legacy shows that true strength comes from embracing, not erasing, your struggles. Clapperboard. A final curtain call. Elizabeth Taylor was a once-in-a-century star, but she was also a mother, a friend, an addict in recovery, a dreamer, and a fighter. Her legacy extends far beyond her 2 Oscars or her 50-plus films. She helped reinvent what it meant to be a woman in the public eye, not by hiding her humanity, but by making it her greatest feature. She once said, "Success is a great deodorant. It takes away all your past smells." But Taylor's life wasn't about masking the past, it was about transforming it into something dazzling. Family and children. Her private heart. Though known as a public figure of enormous magnitude, Elizabeth Taylor cherished her role as a mother and grandmother more than any film or fashion moment. Her 4 children. Michael Wilding Jr., actor, son of Taylor and her second husband, British actor Michael Wilding. Christopher Wilding, also a son from her marriage to Michael Wilding. He became a film editor and worked behind the scenes in Hollywood. Liza Todd, daughter with third husband Mike Todd. Liza became a sculptor and artist, living mostly out of the public eye. Maria Burton, a German orphan Taylor adopted with Richard Burton. Maria became a philanthropist and teacher. Despite her fame, Taylor fiercely protected her children from the media. She tried to give them a normal childhood amid the chaos of film sets and paparazzi. Later in life, she enjoyed being a grandmother to 10 grandchildren and even great-grandchildren, referring to them as her greatest treasures. Movie camera on set. Behind the glamour, Elizabeth Taylor was not just a glamorous star, she was known as a hard-working, instinctive actor who took her craft seriously. Her method. She never trained formally in acting but was praised for her emotional depth and intuition. Directors often said she was a one-take wonder, able to hit emotional beats naturally and truthfully. Her co-stars frequently admired her generosity. Paul Newman called her a true professional with the instincts of a wildcat. Set stories. During Cleopatra, 1963, she became the first actor to earn $1 million for a single film, which set a new standard. While filming Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf, Taylor gained weight, wore aging makeup, and intentionally de-glamorized herself, a huge risk at the time for a beauty icon. The performance won her an Oscar. She said, "Acting is not being emotional. It's being able to express emotion." Dress fashion influence. A living muse, Elizabeth Taylor wasn't just fashionable, she was fashion itself. Designers who loved her. Christian Dior, she famously wore his dresses at Cannes and for special premieres. Valentino, Halston, and Karl Lagerfeld also designed specifically for her. Her love of kaftans, especially in the 1970s and 1980s, helped redefine what aging with style could look like. Her iconic rainbow-colored kaftans became synonymous with regal, effortless beauty. Signature looks. Dramatic eyeliner and bold eyeshadow that highlighted her violet eyes. Hourglass silhouettes that flattered her curvy, unapologetic figure. Diamonds and emeralds worn not just for red carpets but in everyday life. Even today, fashion houses reference her looks in runway collections. Designers like Zac Posen, Dolce & Gabbana, and Versace regularly cite her as a source of visual storytelling. Film frames modern influence. Echoes in today's culture. In film and pop culture, Lindsay Lohan, Naomi Watts, and Rachel Weisz have all portrayed or paid tribute to her on screen or in photo shoots. Lady Gaga, Kim Kardashian, and Rihanna have recreated her signature looks. She is referenced in countless songs, films, and books as the archetype of the sensual, strong woman who defied expectations. In art, Andy Warhol's famous silk screen portraits of her made her an art icon. Photographers like Richard Avedon and Herb Ritts helped define her image as more than just beautiful, but mythic. In business, today's celebrity beauty brands, Fenty, House Labs, Rare Beauty, follow the exact path Elizabeth Taylor carved, using stardom to launch trusted, personal product lines. She was one of the first women in Hollywood to prove that fame could be leveraged into ownership, not just endorsement. Candle. The final word. Even years after her death, Elizabeth Taylor remains larger than life, a spirit of passion, love, defiance, vulnerability, and power.
Bye bye. Thanks for watching.